Alright, so let's get some pants on this guy. I was originally going to model the pants by like duplicating him and then just kind of deleting what I don't need. But I actually like the other method that I use to make the shirt a little bit better. I think it looks a little bit nicer. And that way you can get the geometry kind of the way you want it as opposed to having it match the way the body is and then having to just retopologize it later. So that's what I'm going to do. Again, I'm just going to do that by selecting my surface here and then going to modify make live, and then I can jump over to my modeling toolkit and use my quad draw tool to start drawing out some polygons. So I'll just time lapse through that, and I'll speed it up like 400%, and I'll come back whenever it comes time to do the whole in cloth part. All right, so at this point, I'm going to do the whole in cloth thing and try to get that to look nice, kind of sitting on the character, and then I'm probably going to go in and do a lot more modeling. I'll probably do the shirt a little bit where it looks like it's kind of tucked into the pants. Right now, I think his pants look a little low on them. I'm not sure on him. I mean. So I'll probably, after I do the whole in-cloth thing, I'll probably go in and do a lot more modeling. And again, that'll be a time lapse, so I'm not going to sit here and explain every single thing I do, but at this point you should be able to gather it pretty well. So in the case of the shirt, we really didn't have to worry about the shirt kind of falling off, but in the pants, in the case of the pants may very well fall off. So I'll show you how to alleviate that, or how to fix that as well. So first thing I want to do, as always, is go to delete all by type history. So that deletes my history on everything. And then I'm going to make sure all my transforms are frozen. So I'll just go ahead and do that to everything as well. So modify, freeze transformations. Switch over to my FX menu. I can select my character there and make him a passive collider. Select my pants, make them a in-cloth object. And as always, you always want to make sure that you're set to play every frame and have your max playback speed at real time. If you don't have that set to play every frame, it will not simulate correctly. So pretty much anything you do with simulation or effects is very reliant on that being set to play every frame. So make sure that's set correctly. And now if we hit play at this point, our pants are not going to fall off because there's some places where it's really close to the geometry. So if I back up and let's smooth that guy out, and we go into our nodes, our cloth nodes, and collision, and turn on my solver display to collision thickness, and do the same for the body here. There's going to be areas where that's going to go through each other. So that's why the so see for example, right in here, probably if I just grab the shirt, and I'm just going to Control H that real quick. So there's going to be areas where that thickness is sort of going through each other. So that's holding it in place. So again, just like I did last time, I want to go in and decrease the thickness on the body all the way down. I don't want to take the thickness of the pants all the way down, but I do want to decrease it quite a bit. So now when I hit play, the pants will start to fall off the character. So we can fix that easy enough by making a transform constraint. So if I grab my vertices here on the top, only want those top guys, and go to in constraint, transform constraint. And basically, you can't see it now, but that will create a little locator right there, and it's going to be constrained to the position of that little locator. So just those vertices. So now I can hit play, and they stay in place. Now I also want to come in here and probably affect some of the settings here. I don't want any stickiness. Let's see. We can go to dynamic properties, and I can take stretch resistance down a little bit, compression resistance down, bend resistance down, So all those resistance ones will basically make sure it's trying to, stay in its relative shape, and we don't want it to stay in its original shape. We want it to form into a new pants-like shape. So let's see. Again, I can take stretch resistance. I don't want to take that all the way down because then they'll get really droopy like that. But I do want to take that down to a relatively low number. So sometimes you can get some pretty cool results just by letting it kind of do its thing. And if I wanted his pants to be kind of really droopy like that, that might be a cool effect. And sometimes you might want to just start over again and hit play. And if I like that, say I like the sort of the look that's giving me, I just don't like how far down that's going, I can always just delete those bottom polygons. And to fix stuff like this, where it's going through, now I can go in and start maybe increasing that thickness a little bit. And kind of keep that from happening if I can. Again, some of that's going to happen. It happened on the shirt as well. You take rest length. If we increase that, that will kind of tighten it up. Sometimes you can do something like that, and I kind of like the look of that. Kind of like the look of high water jeans or high water pants. So I might actually keep that the way it is. Maybe just drop that a little bit, that rest length. Increase that up a little bit more. Again, I can always delete those edges in there if I feel like they're a little too much. So when I'm done, what I can do, again, like I did last time I tried one thing and it didn't work, and basically, let's see if I can figure out what I was doing wrong now. Probably not. I think somewhere we have to set initial state, but that's okay. We'll just do it the same way we did the old way. Which is to just delete my history. So I will edit. Let's first delete our, we'll just delete our history first. So edit, delete all by type, history, modify, freeze, transformations. And then I can go into my outliner and delete all of those nodes. And again, as soon as I delete that in-cloth node, it's going to give me two pieces of geometry. And last time it didn't let me separate them. Let's see if it'll let me separate them this time. So separate, nope. So we'll do what we did last time, and basically we can just create a cube. And we can combine those together. When you combine objects together, it treats it like one new mesh, so it cuts all the connections and everything. And then we can go in and separate. And then we can just delete the parts that we don't want. And we have our pants. So at this point, I'm going to go in and maybe start modeling it in, editing the shirt a little bit to kind of make it look like it's tucked in. I'll probably add a little bit of a lip to these pants because in my concept art, well, he's got like a belt, so we'll do something with that. Kind of maybe make it look like his pants are like poking out a little bit more, where the top of the belt would be, and then his shirt gets like tucked into the pants. So I'm going to work on that, and then so that'll be a time lapse, and then maybe I'll say a few words whenever I'm done. Okay. Alright, so you'll notice that one of the first things I did was I deleted half of both of these, just because I feel like it's safer knowing that things will be symmetrical at the end if I do it that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and join these back up. So select my shirt and do a mesh combine, and just grab those center vertices, scale them together until you can't scale them anymore. And then go back to our modeling menu, edit mesh, merge, and then check with smooth to make sure we got everything. Now with the pants, obviously you saw me model these belt buckles, and you can model these any way you want, really. There's not really a exact science behind it. I just chose to do it with separate objects just because I feel like that's a little bit easier. And it looks okay. As far as the pockets go and like the patches on his pants, I can do that in textures. So I'm not going to worry about that. For that matter, I could do the belt in textures as well, but seeing as how this is kind of a mid to high poly character, I thought it might be nice to actually have his belt buckles modeled in, and his little, or his belt loops, and his belt buckle kind of is basically just like a tied. So I want these guys to be duplicated or mirrored on the other side, but I don't want this guy to be mirrored. So what I'm going to do is combine these together. So, oops. Go back to my perspective view and do a mesh combine. And that's going to make this side disappear. So then I can go back and do a duplicate special again. And now that side has those belt loops as well. So then I can combine these together. And again, I'm going to select those center vertices. And this has some pretty close geometry here, so you want to be careful not to get any of like those guys right there. We don't want to join those together. So I usually like to just visually check over before I do the merge to make sure I have all the right vertices together, and that's really important when your geometry is all really close together like that. And then just merge until it doesn't, or scale in until it doesn't scale in anymore. Edit mesh, merge, hit it in smooth mode, make sure everything looks okay, merged over okay. And now we can actually combine these guys all together. And depending if I want to use in cloth, I can always add maps to this and make that kind of jiggle around. I probably want to add a little bit more geometry to it, but that's one of my asymmetrical things. Actually, let's go ahead, just in case, I'm going to add in some more geometry. So, and I could always just make that one little piece in cloth and make that kind of flowy, but maybe I'll get to that eventually in this series to show you how to add maps to make certain parts of your clothing sort of flowy, like in cloth, and certain parts rigid where they don't move. But overall, I think that is pretty much the pants. So next, we're going to jump into, before we get into making the accessories, I want to go in and we'll get into doing the UVs for this guy and his clothing. So as far as the, I'll just talk about real quickly, as far as like the geometry underneath, there's a few different ways we can hide that. One way is to just take this guy Actually, yeah, you know what? We'll wait to do that because I do want to have this visible whenever I'm doing the UVs.